So I always think about purpose when I think about a first meeting. A purpose of a first meeting, in my mind, these are just my opinions, are not to sell a product. It is not to dig into a solution. It is not to create a great relationship. Those are all offshoots of a great first meeting. But what I like to do is, in my headspace, in my mindset, when I have a first meeting with an educator, my purpose is fairly simple. My purpose is to understand whether the two of us, if it's a two-person call, if the two of us can agree on capabilities needed for that educator to address a particular challenge that she has in or out of the classroom. Let me say that again. My purpose in any first discovery meeting is to share vision and to agree on capabilities needed to address a particular discrete education challenge. And then secondly, if we can share that vision, it's decision-making time. Decision on whether I feel my company is equipped to provide them with that solution. Empathy over sympathy, particularly, I'm seeing Mary Beth and some other folks on the call here, particularly for those, if you are a recently transitioned teacher, you can raise your hand or put in a cute emoji or just say yes or something, or T. I'm interested to know who's recently transitioned, who has an educational background, classroom background, and is now in ed tech sales. The difference between empathy and sympathy is, for example, as follows. Okay, I've lived this life. I've been in the classroom. I can tell you right now, there is no doubt in my mind that she's completely buried. I sympathize with that. She's got to be super, super busy. I am just not going to bother her because I don't want to disqualify my company. I think that that is misguided. The purpose of the meeting is to understand what capabilities a particular district or school or college or university may need. And if my organization is equipped to be able to deliver that, there's always time. There's always time for that insight because that has value. You have value, right? So I really want to sort of insist that you consider, yes, you've been in those people's shoes. You know how busy they are, but that does not take the place of the value that you can provide them. It's worth it, or it should be worth it. So I want you to feel emboldened to patiently and respectively persist for the meeting because you have value and you have something to give. You have something to give that's more valuable than anybody else, which is insight into crucible issues that other educators are facing, and you've been able to help. And that's just absolutely awesome. And then thirdly, I really want to sort of assert a point of view around the value of not just giving. Giving is important, but having the fortitude to receive as well is just as important. Rachel, I'm happy to consider pulling together a research report from districts that I think are close in alignment to this district. And here's what I'd like in return for that. Okay, the quadrants. So what the POV, the idea, and the capability has worked to do is to earn me a right to have a conversation, to have an interview. And I'll add, it earns me the right to have an interview even if that teacher, a week before when she accepted the meeting, was like, I don't have budget. Because I'm not talking about budget. I don't care about budget at this moment. I care more about sharing an opinion and sharing capabilities that are needed. Now, those two items work together, in my mind, to help the educator share her own situation. Remember, I don't have any lofty aspirational goals rather than to create some mutual awareness. I want to talk to you about what I'm hearing and square it against your situation. But sometimes the educator that I'm speaking with can inadvertently drive me off the road, okay? So I had asked the question, I was so happy to get some of your feedback on email when I asked the question yesterday about what do you do, or how do you handle it? Do you handle it when you're in a first meeting with a teacher or an administrator and he says, can I just see your product? Okay, that's an inadvertent sort of, exit ramp off of the highway. All right. Now, in my particular sort of orbit, I look at that as a positive. I look at it as a positive So John, I'm grateful that you believe there's a case to be made. I do too.